Hey guys, welcome back to another Kerbal Space Program YouTube video. So today I am going to be sending crew to the minmus base in my new Mark III space plane. So I actually had this ready to go a few weeks ago. I tested it a ton. I just had to get better at landing it because I kept either undershooting or overshooting, and then it had issues with the landing gear, and if you landed it too fast it would explode, and it was a little bit finicky, but I got it working, so yeah, I guess that's pretty awesome. I've tested it and it launches some pretty heavy payloads as well. That's why those cargo bays are in the back, and I can get, pretty good amount of kerbals just about anywhere within the Kerbin system. I could probably even stretch it out a little bit further by placing some fuel tanks inside that cargo bay, and of course just refueling at some kind of space station. So maybe the moon station might get used again, which would be kind of nice. But yeah, I just went ahead and sped it up, I think 8 times or something like that. And I've got a bunch of debris everywhere that I haven't cleaned up, and I'll clean that up shortly. But yeah, it looks like I just switched modes right there, and I will be boosting it into a bit of higher orbit with my nuclear engines. And I think I also circularize with those too. But here we are, about to approach our apoaps, and I'm just burning out with the nuclear engines. When I'm just using the nuclear engines, it's got a really, really low WTR, or thrust to weight ratio. So you, you can't get maneuvers done very fast. So I start them almost all the way on the other side of Kerbin to get them done. But it's not a huge deal. You have to be careful because sometimes if you burn, the periaps can get back into the atmosphere, and that can kind of screw you over. About probably over halfway through the burn now. Yeah, we're at 200 meters per second. And I think I have to do a mid-course correction because maneuver nodes get kind of wacky once you start getting this far away from the planet. And then I keep burning there for some reason, even though I missed it. So I have to go back around and then fix it. But here we are, just kind of fixing up the periaps, getting it pretty close to the surface of minmus. And then warping to that maneuver node now, and getting it fine-tuned. Now with this SSTO has just enough fuel to get to minmus and back with crew, so if I want it to do any more, I'll have to refuel it or something. Yeah, I had to do quite a few aero braking maneuvers to get it into a nice orbit, but I got it there, so I guess that's all that matters. And here we go, just burning retrograde and capturing at minmus, kind of the usual thing. A lot of this is pretty sped up because, I mean, you guys have already seen this. Well, not necessarily the SSTO kind of stuff. It's been a while since I've done an SSTO video, but I mean, I've landed at minmus quite a few times, whether it be with, rocket part shuttle or crew or whatever. but I'll probably be launching crew with my SSTO from now on, because it can just hold so many kerbals, and I can hold more too. I could put them in the cargo bay and then just refuel at minmus base. I'll have to work it out, because the last time I tried to refuel there, it kind of just blew up everything, and you know, I can't exactly get back home if everything explodes. But here we go, landing. I land kind of far away. It's like a few kilometers, I think. Like probably 2 or 3. But that's a-okay, because I can just taxi it in. But yeah, we'll get a good shot of it here pretty soon. Besides on the runway and flying around Kerbin. But yeah, it works pretty well. I've got some RCS thrusters on it, so it is more than capable of docking. And then later you'll see I've got some RCS ports on the nose right there. You can kind of see them, but those are normally disabled because they kind of mess up how the RCS works. But when you're trying to take off from minmus, they're really, really helpful, because normally you can't hardly get off without tilting up a little bit. But here we go, back into just one time acceleration, because we are about to land. We're just a few hundred meters off, or only 100 actually. And I'm just carefully burning retrograde, because it takes forever for the nuclear stages to slow me down. So I'm trying to keep it below 5 meters per second just to be safe. I've got absolutely massive landing gear on there, so it can easily take falling from minmus at a height like this in speed. But I touch it down pretty gently just in case. I don't really want to load my quick saves if I don't have to. And then here we go. I'm just tilting over now, so that way I can lie flat. I do have to be careful with that big vertical stabilizer, because if that hits the ground it kind of explodes and then makes this poor spaceship a little bit uncontrollable. But there we are, we're landed, and now I will go over and put the kerbals in. So this far I should have sped up pretty quickly, hopefully. Yeah, we're getting along. But yeah, I brought a whole bunch of engineers, and I think a few pilots and maybe a scientist, because eventually I'll need those engineers, because I'll go back to Duna, do some stuff there, and I'm actually getting pretty close to figuring out how to do stock propeller planes for Duna. So you guys might see some of those, hopefully. That's what I really want to do. I think that'd be a ton of fun, having stock propeller planes fly around on Duna. There we go, we got our some stuff deployed, just radiators for now. I don't need the solar panel since I've got that nuclear reactor. And I'm still drilling for uranium out of that. And I think I should be able to make xenon with the nuclear reactor and the centrifuge, so that's good. So I think I just get, or I think I only show you guys one kerbal coming out, flying over, because it's really the same for all of them. At least hopefully that's what I do. The flag on the habitat is kind of glitchy. Oh yeah, and then I open up all these habitats later and everything's a-okay. I don't know why I brought extra tools with Valentina, but I guess I did for some reason. Maybe so I could link up everything. I don't know. Yeah, all the flags are just a little bit glitchy. So that's sort of annoying. And then I just have her hop in that little workshop right there. So I think my oh, what's that called? Productivity should be really high by the end of this. But yeah, there we go. I just put one kerbal in, and there were 16 kerbals in that crew module, and then there are three more kerbals I took out of the cockpit, and then something blows up back there. It's the I think the cockpit blew up on the the part deal, whatever it is. I don't know. I can't remember. But yeah, it's just exploding. I should have shut it down, but I didn't, and it just overheats and goes crazy. And here I go, just speeding up. I make sure to activate those thrusters when I'm away from the base. I don't want anything catastrophic to happen. And then I use my RCS ports right there just to lift my nose off. And I'm pretty careful about it because I don't want to come back down, because if I do, that could really screw up the front gear. And there we go, pretty much lifted off there. And I was wanting to just kind of fly straight, but unfortunately the mountain range is a little too close, so I've got to pull my nose up. Then I go ahead and retract the gear there. Yeah, as you can see, the apoapsis isn't very high. And then there I go ahead and speed things up. I mean, I do takeoffs off of minmus pretty often, so this isn't really anything new. And then here I go, just taking off the kind of standard stuff, warping to my apoaps, which I think I keep pretty low, because it is kind of fun to skim over, but I don't think you guys get to see that. Be just kind of flying really close to the ground. Oh well. And then I try to get a moon gravity assist, but I don't think I go for it. It's just easier to kind of come down in an orbit like that. And then I bring it down so it's roughly equatorial. And this first one, I make it really, the periaps is really high. I think it's like 60 kilometers or something ridiculous like that. But yeah, that'll be a good portion of the video, unfortunately. It's just me aero braking. Probably should have cut most of it out. I think I trimmed it down pretty well. And then I do use the air brakes a lot. I do lose 2 at one point in time, which is a little unfortunate. And then warp again. I think I lower my periaps this time, because 60 kilometers is kind of high. You don't get really any aerodynamic drag up there. It's just kind of minimal. So then I close my cargo bay again. Yeah, I keep closing it and opening it a lot, just because I have to get some sunlight on those solar panels so I can recharge my batteries. Yeah, this time I go for a little bit lower, 50,000, and I should be below the moon's orbit. And then there I am flying right over the KSC. Yeah, now I'm within the moon. And you can probably see that lander, but that is actually an asteroid I captured a long, long time ago, so I might do something with that. I've got that video lying around somewhere, but that video has a lot of, like, I think it's before even my Duna missions, maybe. But I did find some Dres asteroids, so that's pretty cool. Some pretty large ones as well. So I guess I'll have to show you guys that here in the next video, maybe. I guess I can split it between Dres and Duna. And here we go. I think this is probably our last air break. Could be, but I'm not sure. Looks like it. Maybe here you can kind of see that I accidentally burnt off 2 of my air brakes. It's kind of hard to tell because in the editor it always buffers. It should look perfectly fine for you guys though, I think. I don't know, I'll see when I render it. Yeah, I think one of these is the last re-entry. I feel like we're getting pretty close. But yeah, all these air braking maneuvers make me really nervous. Because the heating, I feel like it is a little more, what would you call that? Just, it's a little more dangerous, I guess, than usual. Than 1.2. I feel like in 1.2 I could literally throw my SSTO into like a really, really low pass and it wouldn't burn up. But in here I feel like everything overheats and you get really close to blowing things up. Yeah, now I'm coming in for my landing, and I have 50 units of liquid fuel left, and you'll see where I get into an interesting situation there with it. So right now it's looking pretty good. My approach is almost right over the KSC, but then I start getting some lift, and it kind of goes out a little further than I would like. And I could have probably landed at the island runway, but I decided not to, and I came back around. And I should have had those air brakes going a long, long time ago. And I should be closer to those mountains too. This is still kind of high up. And then I paused the game there for some reason. Can't remember why. Yeah, here I go. I'm about to overshoot, and the issue is I have to make my maneuvers kind of wide, because if I don't, then I'll bust up my poor aircraft. It doesn't do so good when pulling high G maneuvers. If you do anything too crazy with it, it just kind of blows up. And you'll see here pretty soon that it doesn't react too well to G-force overloads. And then I go ahead and retract my I put down my landing gear there, and I get ready to go in. And then unfortunately I don't get to glide it there. I have to, this is powered here pretty soon. I gotta get those engines going. Although at one point during testing, I was actually doing this on a multiplayer server, because I play dark multiplayer every once in a while, which is a pretty fun mod. I actually got a completely unpowered landing, which was really nice. managed to land it on the runway perfectly. It was awesome. So hopefully I'll be able to get better at these landings. But here I am slowly coming into the runway. This was probably the most nerve-wracking part of the mission because I knew I only had very, very limited fuel and I had to go quite a ways. It almost would have been better to land at the island instead. And I really didn't want to give this a water landing because if I did, there's a good chance I could have destroyed it. Although, they do have parachutes for kerbals in the game now, which is good. So, if I do really screw up a landing, I can always bail out with my kerbal. And as you can see there, I believe this is 54 units, and this burns through gas pretty quick. So now I'm at 40 units, and I keep checking it constantly because it really eats up fuel even at less than a third power. And then my craft also gets kind of unstable here. It doesn't fly as well, it's kind of wiggly. And then here I am at about 18 units of fuel. Right, and I'm not even over the island yet, or the peninsula. There I go. And now you'll see the engines kick off right about now. Let's see if I see it. Yep, right there. Right on top of the runway. And then I land. And it's actually probably my best plane landing in this series, which is kind of fun. I think I've only done one other SSTO landing though, so you know, I think one I crashed, and then the other one I landed, but not on the runway. But that one's got kind of wacky rudders, so didn't work out so well. I'd have to fix the rudders on that one to make it worth anything. But yeah, I will see you all in the next video. Bye!